to MandoBug Crafts, episode 26. I am MandoBug, but you can call me Amanda if you want. So I'm just gonna go ahead and get into it with something I've learned. So this week, no, you guys know I haven't recorded in a little while. So like this past week and a half maybe, it's almost been 2 weeks. Last weekend, I went and hung out with Lindsay of the Knitwin podcast, and we did our experimental dyeing. So before I say any more, I'm gonna go ahead and insert the video that we made over at her house. I apologize for the audio and the lighting. It was in her garage at night, so it is what it is. But here you go. Hi! So I'm here with Lindsay of the Knitwin podcast, and we are doing some dyeing. Or, well, we have done some dyeing.
We've been doing dyeing.
So we have like a table set up of everything that we've used pretty much to do what we've done.
Lots of basic stuff. We have face masks for mixing the powders,
Gloves for mixing powders.
we bought all of our spoons and measuring cups separate. These are not for cooking, it's dye specific, because it's kind of toxic. I have a cool little magnet with conversions of all the different cups and ounces. It's very useful for figuring out. The dyes come in these little containers of powder, and you mix them with hot water.
And then you can mix them with some citric acid. That also came with my starter kit that I got.
Or you can use vinegar, but I think we prefer the citric acid.
Yeah, so Lindsay can show you because she did the test.
This is with the vinegar, and it's mostly solid, but there are some like spots where it just didn't all absorb the same way. And then this is with the citric acid.
So solid.
And it's the same amount of dye, but it's darker and it's completely solid all the way through.
Yeah, I think it's kind of hard to tell the lighting in here. We're in her garage. Because I was supposed to come over earlier, but I failed at that and the sun went down, so we have indoor lighting.
Initially, we had the garage door open and there was all this fresh air, and now it's 10 o'clock and freezing outside. So.
But, so we mixed the dye in these little mason jars. We got pint size and quart size, and Lindsay was really good and she labeled hers. But we ended up using all of it, so I guess we don't need that, but the labels should come right off. And then for our heat source, we used crock pot. There's Lindsay's fiber from the crock pot.
When all the dye is absorbed, the water should run clear, so.
And we were using tongs to try to agitate it the least amount possible, but it's really hard.
Now, the biggest fear in this whole process is accidentally felting the fiber.
So pretty!
So pretty. Let's see if this is really
This
exhausted.
is purple mixed with a black. Okay. And
Yeah.
here's the exhausted dye bath. No purple.
This is with the black added, and this is just with the purple dye. There's a
Yeah,
huge
that's pretty.
difference.
That's probably how we're gonna have to get the different shades. So,
I think it is. I think the only way to get different shades is to do.
so Lindsay dyed the purple fibers. Which ones? There's 4?
There's 5.
5?
1, 2, 3, 4, and each one is an ounce. So it's 5 ounces of purple.
Nice. And then I dyed the orange guy, which turned out different shades because it's the BFL swirl. So there's no cool fancy trick to that. This is the leftover water from when I washed the blue yarn. It barely bled for its first bath. I'm pretty excited about that.
We are keeping extensive records about the percentages of dye to water and dye to fiber that we use. So
Yes, definitely.
everything we learn in this process is written down, so we don't do the same thing twice unless we want to.
Yeah, and Lindsay's got the nice little notebook that's all like leather bound and got a clasp. And you want to see mine? It looks so much more ghetto.
You say it that way, but I always have a stack of empty journals in my room because I've been writing about a journal a year since high school. So
okay, that's fair enough.
I always have a stack.
That's fair enough. So yeah, that was a lot of fun, and we definitely learned a lot. Okay, so I'll go ahead and share with you what I dyed. So the first thing I dyed was my yarn that I had spun on my wheel, my very first wheel yarn. It was a plain color, and I dyed it this really pretty blue, and it is showing pretty true to color. I mean, it's kind of more purple, like an indigo in this on my camera, but so I dyed it this really dark purple. You can see some places didn't take as well as other, and especially I didn't even think about where the skein is tied. It's tied too tight, and I probably should have tied it looser, but when I skeined this up, I wasn't even thinking about that. So this was the first skein, and then I decided, like, okay, we were trying to figure out how you could get lighter shades of color, and I'm like, okay, well, just put less dye in the pot. So I took half the amount of dye from this one to dye this one. And it is slightly lighter, but it's really, I mean, look, it's really not that much of a difference. It's enough to where if you striped it, you may notice there's subtle striping. And again, there's some spots that just didn't quite get dye on them. And I think that was from my fear of agitating the yarn, and maybe it was bunched up too much in there. And then there was a mini skein that went with this one, same color. So, I mean, I guess it depends on the lighting, if you can tell whether one turned out lighter or darker, but I don't know. And this was the blue that came with the Greener Shades dye kit, but I added black. Now, I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you guys. I added black to every color I dyed. Is that surprising? I don't know. So this was my first experiment. And then once the yarn was done, I was like, okay, it's time to do the fiber, and I was absolutely scared. Just because it's so easy to felt fiber when it's wet versus yarn. So, let's see. I think I dyed my BFL swirl first. So, I don't know if I showed this to you guys, but it came in the mail. It's from Gail's Art. It was a natural BFL swirl, so it's white and brown natural colors. And I went ahead and dyed it orange. So here's what I got. I absolutely love kettle dyed fiber, but that was not my intent. So it seems like I didn't put enough dye in the pot. Which, you know, I was trying to go off their instructions, but I guess you kind of got to learn. Luckily I have my notebook to keep all my notes in. But you can see the swirls are where the fiber was brown, and it took up the orange dye differently. You can kind of see here where not a lot of dye got on. This is what the natural fiber looked like, white with brown. So this still feels very soft, and it doesn't seem very agitated. While on the other hand, I dyed 4 ounces of this natural domestic wool that I got from Winterwood Farm with my wheel, and I'm pretty sure it felted. So I can go ahead and insert a picture of the braid here because it's gone. So here's a picture of the braid. And then I separated it into thirds because I want to do 3 singles and then regularly, traditionally ply them together. And my goal for this is to, watch me now, hand dye, then spin, and then knit and or crochet these into hats for my family members for Christmas. It is March. I can do this. I got this. So this would definitely be one of the men's hats. I have this one and then this one. The other one's on my wheel, and maybe if I'm feeling happy, I'll go shoot a little picture of the progress on my wheel, but I probably won't because there's not a lot of progress on it. But, so for this one, I wanted to try something different, and this is definitely why I got agitated. I absolutely know it. I put orange dye, dark orange dye, in the bottom. Well, no, it was just regular orange. I didn't add any black to my orange mix. Orange dye into the pot, the crock pot, and then I slowly lowered my roving in, starting at one end, and I just kind of lowered it in until, sorry, that's my iron. I know you're still plugged in, but you're off. Shh. But so I slowly started lowering it in from one end until it looked like it was gonna like make the rest of it just kind of sit on top, because I only put enough dye to dye half of the fiber. So I expected the fiber to absorb only the bottom, to absorb all the orange. And then I waited for the dye bath to exhaust, and then I pushed the rest of the dye down into the bath, and I poured, burps. So I get for drink a pop. Pop! Yeah, I'm from the West Coast, the Northwest. We say pop. Anyways, I poured the leftover half of this dye color over the top of what was already in there with the orange. So you can see the kind of blue, and then it also took over the top of the orange, and that's why this orange is so dark. And this is probably my favorite dyeing experiment so far. I absolutely love the way that this turned out, just not the fact that it felted. So I need to find a way to not have to really move the fiber around so much to still get these awesome colors, because I mean, it's really cool how it took up the colors. But I don't know if you can tell how it kind of looks felted. It is not the easiest color to spin. Or I mean, not the color, but the fiber is not the easiest to spin because it's kind of felted together. Oh well. Oh, and the other thing is it all smells like vinegar, because I definitely didn't want to give the fiber another bath until after it's been spun into yarn. Since it's just for myself, I can deal with the smell, but I really prefer the citric acid crystals because you don't need as much and they don't smell. So moving on to works in progress. So, I still have all my really old works in progress, but I haven't really been touching them. But I was itching to knit with hand spun, so I started this cowl. So I went ahead and started that thread. You guys may have seen it, where I was like, help, I love this yarn, but I don't know what to make with it. And you guys all said, well, you didn't all say, but the majority of the votes were for the Willow Cowl by Amelia Lyon. And so I went ahead and cast that on. And I have to say, I don't like to cast on. It's not that I don't like the way it looks. I don't like how I feel like I wasted yarn. It's a picot edge cast on, and this is a free pattern, so I can go ahead and tell you. You knit 8 rows, and then you do yarn over knit 2 together around the whole row, and then you knit 8 rows again, and then you fold it in half, and you pick up stitches and knit 2 together, so you have what looks like this. So those yarn over knit 2 togethers give you this picot edge, but now you have double-sided fabric, so it's, double knit. You can kind of see on the back. I don't think I picked up the right stitches because I got like a line. But it's not a big deal, that's the inside. But I'm like, oh, now you won't see all this beautiful hand-spun colors. But, I mean, you still get the outside. But I absolutely love the way that this hand-spun is knitting up, and it really keeps me motivated to keep knitting on it. I'm using US size 4s. The pattern calls for US 5, but I couldn't find my 5s, and this is really light fingering, so I was like, 4s will do, and I'm happy with my choice. It could be a little airier, but I'm happy with the 4s. You can see my little caked up hand spun yarn. These colors, man, it's like a crayon box almost. I absolutely love it. So I think that's going well so far. And that's really all I'm working on for my works in progress. So, finished objects. I finished my Rolags. Is that surprising? I think not. I was enjoying the colors absolutely so much that that's all I did was spin, spin, spin. And I've been listening to Divergent on Audible. I don't know if you guys have seen the trailer for it yet. It's a movie coming out. It was a book. Well, it's like a 3-part book. 3-part book. Like a trilogy. A friend at work recommended it to me, and I barely have time to read, so I just was like, okay, I got an Audible token, I'll just listen to it while I spin, and it's a really good book. It's a teen book, so warning for that, but I enjoyed it, and I'm going to go ahead and listen to the next one, Insurgent. So, yeah. Anyways. Sorry, I gotta get my caffeine for the day. I just woke up, you know, I told you guys last week, I've been working nights, and it's really throwing me off. I'm really trying to get a schedule set in place, because sometimes I just wake up and the sun has already gone down, and I can't record in the dark. Well, I could, but you guys won't, you'd be like, what color is that? Is everything just dark blue and black? Okay. But anyways, ooh, pretty. I absolutely love this game. So, oh, look at it, it's so beautiful. This is, well, it was Rolags from Yarn Shine, and this is their Ocean's Eve, and it's 3 ounces. And as soon as I started spinning this, I said, oh my goodness, you are gonna be lace. So, guess how many yards I got out of 3 ounces? It blew my own mind. 3 ounces, right? 458 yards. 458! Holy crap. I'm so surprised. You know, I knew it was going to be a lot, because as I was spinning, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is taking forever. But yeah, I mean, definitely if I... Shh, don't call me. That's so bad. It's my husband. You can tell when I unwind this game, I was counting this, and I'm not recounting my yardage again, but there was like 275 of these. You can see, maybe if I show you how thin it is. Yeah, you can kind of see. It's very, very, very thin. This is 2-ply. So, this is going to be some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lace. So, I'm really excited about that. But that's all I got for finished objects. I've been just spinning like crazy. Moving on to check it out. So, this week I have something a little different to share with you guys because, I don't know, I was looking around because we have our March project bag sew-along going on. I found this website called Spoonflower.com. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's an interesting fabric website. I didn't check out any of their prices, but you can design your own fabric. So you could, you know, sketch up your own drawings or find somebody else's and make prints with them. And then not only that, but other people who have designed fabric, you can purchase their fabric as well. And I thought that was really cool, and I think the website carries some of their own as well. So I'm really intrigued by the idea because I love things that are unique, and if I can make some doodle, or hey, even if you have kids and your kids doodle, it could get printed onto some fabric for them, and I just think that's amazing. So check it out. And moving on to current events. Oh, so like I said, we have the March project bag sew-along going on. I haven't made the official thread yet. I can go ahead and do that soon. So the rules will be 1 entry per person. It'll be a no chatter thread. Those are the easiest to do random drawings for, especially since we already have our chatter thread. When you finish a bag, go ahead and share it in the chatter thread, and when you do your entry for the giveaway, and that way we can talk about how much we love it. So I got a little bit of a head start. I started last week. But I am making a bunch of bags, and I'm making bags that I haven't even started yet, so I feel like that's fine. And I'm not getting my own prize, so I can cheat, okay? So my very first one, I'm not super happy with it. So I put in the forums, you guys might have seen it, that I wanted to do this teacup purse, and I'll try to show you this. I printed it out, and my printer didn't have ink, so you can barely tell. But I'll go ahead, of course, and link it in my show notes at mandobugcrafts.blogspot.com. There will be a link in the bottom of the YouTube description to take you there. But this was the pattern, so it was $12, and it comes with 3 designs. It comes with the teacup, there's a hot cocoa purse, and also a coffee mug purse, but the teacup's the cutest. And it's cool because it's a PDF that's printable and it can be made into a book. So that's what I did. So I'm making 3 of those, and I'm not super happy with my progress so far. You know, cut out all your pieces and the main body of the purse is quilted, and I was like, well, I'm going to save time and machine quilt instead of hand quilt. And as you guys know, with my crazy quilt back there, I'm still learning. And also, I didn't use a stencil, so they're not even in the right place. So here, I'll show you. So see how my flowers are like way up there, and then my lines for the cup aren't necessarily the curviest, and that's like the front and this is the back. So those ones are more even and a little better, but they're still way too high up here. I wasn't paying attention to the seam allowance. So so this is one color scheme that I'm doing, and then I haven't quilted them up, but they're set up to be quilted. Here's another color scheme. And then here's another one. It's the same fabric, but reversed. So, and this is just batting and muslin on the back. So, I will be quilting those later. And the pattern has you started out making the little tea bags first. Well, it's more like a tea tag. So I made all of those, well, for the most part. So, looks like that. What's that? And it's got like some twine. And all I did was I cut them out and then used felt for the batting on these. And then I just sewed them on my machine to keep the twine in, because this connects to the zipper and it needs to be in there pretty tightly. But I want to take some DMC floss and do some handmade looking big stitches to sew it all closed in brown. But so I have 3 of those. And no, this is not my handwriting. They have a stencil. I just put the muslin over the top of the stencil and I ended up using a brown permanent marker because it looked the best. Of course, I practiced on a few, and I have fabric markers, but they bleed too much for such fine detail. So, and I don't have any ink. I'm not really into stamps, but that was another option. You could use like stamp ink. I just used a permanent marker. And then the handles. These were kind of a pain in the butt. I made all 3 handles already. You sew your strips and then you have to turn them inside out. This is so thin. To turn this inside out was a giant pain in my behind. And I did it exactly the way that the pattern said to, so it's not like I was doing it the hard way. It just isn't easy. So, and of course I would like the piping to fit more snugly in here, but if I had tried that, it would have been even harder to turn it inside out. So it is what it is. But so I think they're gonna be cute. I just need to make sure my next two quilted purses don't look so funky. I may just go ahead and hand quilt one of them, because I'm starting to feel perfectionist on that. And then I also have fabric picked out for the open wide bags by I think it's Noodlehead. I don't know, it's linked. I'll link it. You know me. But I want to do the two-tone one. So I have, and the two-tone large one. So I have this giant print that I've been waiting to make a project bag with. And I'm going to go ahead and pair it with gray. Just because I couldn't really find another color to pair it with. And of course, I like my grays. And then I'm also going to make another one, maybe a smaller one, maybe the large one, in this print with gray again. So I'm excited about that. And then that's it for the March project bag sew along. So also for current events, the Completely Twisted and Arbitrary group on Ravelry is doing their Twisted Gals spin along. It's from January to March, so it ends this month, and that is what I made this yarn for. Pigeon Roof Studios is the featured hand dyer this quarter, and so I bought this superwash merino from her in the Rusted Song colorway, and then I loved it absolutely so much that I went back and I purchased another one of the colorways. There are 3. It was very hard to not buy them all, but you know, I try to limit myself, and I got her Scattered Lines colorway, and I'm pretty sure I showed you guys my progress with that last episode, and I went ahead and finished it. So I got these 2 skeins. Here's one. And see why I absolutely love her fiber? I mean, these colors are just gorgeous. Hopefully one day I'll learn how to dye like this. But this one you can tell, I don't know, I think I told you guys last week how there were really long color blocks. So lots of blue and then lots of white and then lots of blue again. This one's going to be very, very like long stripes. But this one is all marled and crazy. But I absolutely love these. These are kind of a range between light fingering and heavy fingering. They're mostly heavy fingering weight because I only got a little over 300 yards from my 4 ounces. So, but they're absolutely gorgeous. I absolutely love these colors. This BFL is superwash BFL, but it's still so soft. And this is the one that I spun supported long draw, which is a woolen spin, even though this is a worsted prep. I definitely think it made the yarn softer, and honestly guys, I'm really hooked on this supported long draw spinning. I feel like it's faster. It's not as consistent, but I feel like the more I do it, the better I'll get at it, of course. So I might end up spinning almost everything that way, except for maybe merino. I feel like merino really likes that short forward worsted spinning, but with the domestic wool that I'm spinning this, I'm spinning it supported woolen. It helps, especially since it's kind of felted. It kind of pulls everything for me. So yeah, that's it for that. And then also for current events, we still have the February and March finished objects thread going on. It will continue through the end of March, and I will do a drawing for each category. I'll probably do like a post when it closes. I'll probably like do an earburn post to make sure that everybody who entered is entered, if that makes sense. Just kind of fact check myself. So also, well, all I really got left is upcoming events. So for upcoming events, I had mentioned to you guys last week that I will be making a dress for the Renaissance Fair in Atlanta. And I got my pattern and some fabric. So I picked out this pattern. It's a McCall's pattern. Not this one. That's very Little House on the Prairie. I was looking more for like this one right here. Or this one with sleeves. Where's that one with sleeves? Oh, I don't like that one. You know, all of these come with like different patterns that you can do, but I don't want the sleeves to be as long as that, and I don't want that. I'm probably not going to go with that kind of neck. I like the scoop neck, so I'll probably do scoop neck and then sleeves, but shorter than that. And the fabric I picked out is here. So I'm not super hot on purples, but this one just like, I was like, yep, this is it. This is what I want. And so this is what it's going to be. I don't know, I had it in my mind that I was going to do purple, or I was going to do white in a color, but I feel like this wants to be paired with another dark color. So I'm not sure yet. I'm going to make the dress and then find out, because I feel like I want to make like a waist cincher, almost like a corset under the dress. And I don't know. I'll wait till I start working on this to find out. You guys know me, I change my mind all the time. So, but yeah, that's all I got for you guys. I really hope that it's not annoying that my schedule or my recording is random now. I'm just having a hard time with setting a schedule with my whole working nights. It's really messing me up. And then, oh yeah, my shawl I'm wearing, in case you're new, this is Silver. It's a free pattern on Ravelry, and this is Neighborhood Studio Company. I think it's Neighborhood Studio Company's yarn, Lincoln Park colorway. I absolutely love this guy, and he keeps me super warm, even though it's starting to warm up. So if you haven't noticed my colorways, I mean, shoot, the first fiber I dyed, I mean, come on guys, that's That's ridiculous. Okay, well, I'll let you guys go. I hope you guys have a good week, and longer if I don't record within a week, but I'm gonna try. Alright, bye!